into the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy's Fair. And Murphy, I guess we've got 5 weeks in the books and 6 to go.
Halftime this coming Friday will be halfway through the season, right? The regular season, that is, anyway.
Of course, a few teams have enjoyed their byes. The majority of those, Murphy, will enjoy those here in the final 6 weeks. But, you know, it's getting cooler. It's getting more football weather and feels fall-like.
Yeah, and everybody's still got to experience fall break, too, which will come in mid-October. The problem I always have, fall break runs over 3 different weeks. So when you need to get in touch with a coach, you don't ever know which week they're going to celebrate fall break.
Right. Makes it pretty tough. Let's go ahead and look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports. And Fayetteville gets the win over Cannon County, 34-13. Fayetteville has the upper hand in the numbers, but the big one that kind of sticks out there is the passing yards, Murphy, 197 for Fayetteville and only 59 for Cannon.
Yeah, and as I understand it, a lot of those were big plays, like 30, 40, 50-yard plays, you know. And with the kind of speed that Fayetteville has, if one of those receivers gets out in the open field, Cannon County had a really hard time trying to catch up with them.
Of course, I think Fayetteville also blocked a Cannon punt, but that was only a 1-touchdown game going to the 4th, Murphy. And that seems to be the, I hate to say it, MO for their season so far is get the game close in the second half, but then can't get over the hump.
Just don't have enough gas, and they don't have enough kids to do wholesale substituting to give people a break when they need it.
Let's go ahead and look at Watertown at Cascade. Let's look at Fayetteville's individual stats. Kavion Anderson, 17 rushes for 123 yards, a couple of touchdowns, 4 receptions for 105 yards in the score. You can see he's a big playmaker for Fayetteville out of Lincoln County. Sam Willoughby, 14 of 23, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, had 9 rushes for 36 yards. Look at Cannon County. We say Tucker Kine's name every week. He had one of the scores for the Lions on a 12-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. Kobe Miller with 59 yards passing, 35 yards rushing, and Eli Garrett 23 yards receiving. But you can tell that Fayetteville had that explosiveness on offense.
Yeah, and like I said, Cannon County needs about 3 or 4 more Tucker Kines or Colby Millers actually to give them a better shot. They have played 2 or 3 of those losses that they suffered were anybody's ball game until the last 6 or 8 minutes of the game.
They're really going to have to battle, Murphy. I think they've got a couple of regions left to try to get into the playoffs now.
And there's only 5 teams in that region. They've only got to win 1, and hopefully one of those will come against Community. I believe that's this week.
That is, in fact, our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week is Community in Cannon County. Let's go ahead and look at the Watertown and Cascade. I was a little surprised at this. Cascade, the champions, come away with a 28-21 win over Watertown. Brett Price throws for 142 yards, a couple of scores, 9 rushes for 66 yards. Adam Cooper at 8 rushes for 75 yards, had a touchdown, 3 receptions for 18 yards, and Marcus Reynolds has 2 receptions for 54 yards and a score. Murphy, I don't know that your eye saw this loss for the Purple Tigers coming.
No, I wouldn't have picked Cascade to win that game. But you know, as close as it was, it's football's a game all too often of 1 or 2 plays. That's all it takes to make the difference in the game. And obviously, Cascade took advantage of some situations that allowed them to come out on top.
Watertown has lost some close games this year. Of course, they got that initial win of the season over Forest, which is Forest's only loss of the year. And we'll see a little bit later when we do our picks that Cascade and Forest, are getting ready to play in what could be for second place in that region, behind what most people think will be the region champion in Giles County.
It's we talk a lot about how the community of Watertown is just almost exploding. They're picking up so many new kids to be 3A.
The thing with that, Murphy, like you said, it's hard to keep up with these teams, especially when they reclassify after 2 years. Difficult for us just to try to keep up.
I'm sorry, I got Cannon and Community mixed up. Community's one that's jumped up to 3A,
That's correct.
I never saw that one coming.
Let's go ahead and look at Gordonsville at DeKalb. DeKalb gets the win, about 300 yards of total offense for DeKalb, around 100 for Gordonsville. And, DeKalb County did it on the ground. Jordan Parker did have 51 yards passing and a touchdown, but he was 15 rushes for 101 yards and another score. And then Ari White, 28 carries for 148 yards. So a big night for Cannon on the ground.
Yeah, it really was. I listened to part of that game going home because that was on the FM signal coming out of Carthage, and I was really quite surprised. But I know Coach Trapp had to be awfully pleased with his kids and how they responded to get a win. It's not a regional win, but hopefully that gives some momentum to get them back in the race for not only a playoff position, but maybe even a playoff game at home.
I don't think Bria's Trapp played in the game. At least the stats that I saw didn't have him included in that.
Okay.
Jamario Williams leads Gordonsville. They had 6 or 7 starters out, including Kanan Musgrove. Of course, everybody knows about him. The Gentry kid at wide receiver. So Jamario Williams steps in, gets 13 rushes for 24 yards. Jay Foster, 9 of 18 passing, 65 yards, a couple of interceptions. Gordonsville's only touchdown comes on a Dalton Hancock 70-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And that's the one thing when you're at the 1A level, Murphy, and you have kids that are out with injury, especially kids, a lot of those go 2 ways. It makes things tough.
Yeah, and when you see the 13 rushes for 24 yards, that's not even an average of 2 yards a run. Makes you think, well, there must have been some shortfalls at the point of attack.
Right. And when you look at that, of course, give Gordonsville credit. They're stepping up, going from 1A, playing a 4A team
right.
in DeKalb. Of course, it is a kind of a border rival there. If you head out Dale Ridge, up through Temperance Hall, but I think it's a good rivalry and will be good for both schools.
Well, I think so.
Let's go ahead and look at Charleston County and Smith County. Smith County gets the win 27-7. Peyton Hicks, for the second time this year, has a pick 6. He picks it off and returns it 44 yards for a touchdown. He had 2 receptions for 30 yards. Riley Martin, 10 of 17, 83 yards, 6 rushes for 17 yards and a score. Jaden Evans, 14 rushes for 82 yards and a touchdown. But the key to that game was 4 Charleston County turnovers, all coming in the second quarter. The first one came on a botched exchange between their 2 punt returners, which White and Claywell picked up and returned 20 yards to the Charleston County 10-yard line. That's how the Owls got their first touchdown on a Mayville run. And then after that, the pick 6. So then the Owls scored to start the third quarter, and then they scored on the final play of the game where the PAT was not attempted. But Cole Grigger, a great night for the Yellow Jackets, 134 yards passing, 85 yards rushing. He accounted for 219 of the 222 yards that Trousdale County had. Coben Calhoun, 9 receptions for 100 yards.
That's amazing. One of the really neat things being down on the field that impressed me was the Smith County crowd. That's what high school football is all about. And I don't know how many people that side of the stadium seats, but there wasn't room for a whole lot more.
Right. Of course, you got about 90 yards of bleachers there.
That's right.
We'll take a look at the region scores when we return to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with 1 truck and a couple old borrowed trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for chief geologist, general mine foreman, mine engineer, graduate mining engineer, electrical superintendent, mobile superintendent, mine supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the box score. Let's go ahead and get right into these Sonic scores for Week 5. Region 4-1A being the first graphic that we look at. And Murphy, I know that, as things are getting deeper, of course, some of these are region games. A lot of them are non-region games. And you look at East Robertson, they set up a big matchup with Smith County. They get a 49-12 win over Joe Burns. And, they'll play for first place come Friday night in Cross Plains.
Yeah, they will. And I understand that community, Cross Plains, is one that's just busting at the seams too. Probably wouldn't even recognize it if I drove in there now. But there are some who really think that it's growing so fast that East Robertson might be 3A in the next classification period. But nonetheless, that's who the Owls have drawn for this coming week, and I look for that to be quite the exciting football game.
Depending on who you look at, that's a lot of people feel like that Region 3-2A championship will be decided Friday night. Clay County gets a big win over Portland. Clay lost their first 2 games, but they've rebounded and I think they're 3-2 now. Jackson County holds off Red Bull in 21-14, and we talked about DeKalb and Gordonsville.
Those 2 middle games right there looks like they could have gone either way. And when 1A Clay County beats 4A Portland, Portland's got a pretty good program. Clay County must have everything firing on all cylinders right now as opposed to those first 2 weeks of the year.
Of course, Jimmy Maynard, their offensive coordinator, Mike Dickerson, former Owl coach, the defense coordinator for Bruce Lamb. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 3-2A, a game that I can't figure out. Clay County, beats Monterey the week before at Monterey, if I remember right. Now Monterey goes to Westmoreland and gets a huge region win, 35-14. Murphy, you got to give the boys up on the mountain some credit.
Coach Hughes has got those kids playing awfully well for Monterey to have made the jump from 1A to 2A this year. They're hanging right in there like they've been there for a long, long time.
Of course, those other scores we have already shown you include Smith County over Travis County. Let's look at the Region 4-2A. Marion County, a big win over Sequatchie. I thought Marion would win that game, but by no means by that margin.
No, that surprised me too. And I there for a while even thought Sequatchie might have a shot. But Marion County has shown throughout the season thus far that they're a pretty good football team, and I don't think they're to be overlooked.
I think they're 5-0 and probably the odds-on favorite to win maybe that region. Looking at Forest with the win over White House Heritage, Cascade over Watertown, and Fayetteville over Cannon County, scores that we've already gone over. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4-3A. Providence gets the win over Grundy County in overtime. And the other 2 scores, we've talked about, Murphy, but, Grundy County, a much improved team.
Yeah, they led at the half 14-7, I think it was.
That's right. Yeah.
And I went to that game, and Providence just looked so unprepared. They obviously came out much more focused in the second half to win that ball game, but it's a brand new program. They've been playing 8-man football until this year.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 4-4A. The scores from there, and a big one, Upperman over White County. Upperman got out to a 21-0 lead, but Mr. Pinion, he leads the Warriors back, and it's a 28-21 victory. So that's 2 one-score wins in the region that Upperman has over White County and Macon County.
And that's who Macon County has this coming Friday night is White County. So we'll see how much that tough loss to Upperman affects the Warrior football team.
Macon County improves to 4-1. They go to Cumberland County and get a region win, 35-0. Meigs County, a big win for them, traveling over to Crossville to play Stone Memorial and beat them 33-25. Livingston big over Pickett, and then, of course, DeKalb over Gordonsville.
That Meigs County score over Stone Memorial may be the biggest surprise on the board. I never saw that one coming at all. I know Stone Memorial isn't the team it's been the last couple of years, but Meigs isn't either. They've got a new head coach over there, but obviously their coach had them playing awfully well.
Let's look at some other scores of interest. Lebanon, who jumped out to a 14-0 lead, sees Green Hill rattle off 31 straight points, I guess it was. And,
wow.
Wins 31-21 at Lebanon, a battle there. First time these two teams have met. They're in the same region now. Mount Juliet beats Cookeville 38-14. MBA, a close win over Father Ryan. And then Adamsville, 69-6 over Milton.
That made up for a couple of tough losses over the last 2 or 3 weeks. But that was a big win for MBA over Ryan. MBA has struggled the last 4 weeks, I guess. I think they only have 2 wins on the season, and I know Coach Marty Uverard had to be awfully proud of his kids in that win over Ryan.
Let's go ahead and look at the games which are upcoming. Gordonsville going up to Monterey, and are we going to see the Monterey team that played against Clay County, or are we going to see the Monterey team that played well against Westmoreland?
I think it all depends on how much healing is going on within the Gordonsville lineup. How many of those starters that they did not have last week will be ready to play this coming Friday.
Of course, Monroe County out of Kentucky coming down to Salina. Clay County's won 3 ball games in a row, and Red Boiling Springs and Craig County. I think that game is at Red Boiling Springs if I looked earlier today, right? But still, that's a long trip for whoever the visitor is.
It is. Linden, Tennessee is where Perry County High School is located. A relatively new team to high school, or a new player to high school football, but they've won 2 or 3 games a year, 3 or 4 every once in a while. But I think Red Boiling's got a great chance to pick up another win in that one.
Cheatham County at Joe Burns. Both teams have struggled a little bit.
Kind of a border war there. Robertson County against Cheatham County. And Joe Burns under a new head coach this year too could have something to do with their struggles.
Region 3 2A games. Of course, we've got to talk the big one. Smith County traveling to Cross Plains to play East Robertson. Westmoreland going to Liberty Creek, a team that Smith County played earlier this year. Of course, Westmoreland not that far from Cottontown. Both are in Sumner County. Jackson County at Trouser County. And then Monterey at Gordonsville going to, I think that's at Monterey, I'm not sure. But anyway, when you look, these could be some pretty good ball games.
Yeah, not many regional games in that list right there. And from here on out, it's probably going to be regional games for just about everyone after this coming week.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 2A. Community at Cannon County, that's our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports. Fayetteville at Marshall County, Marion County at Brainerd, and Forest at Cascade. When you look at that community at Cannon County's kind of got its back against the wall, Murphy. They need a win badly if they're going to try to get in the playoffs.
Whoever wins that ball game probably gets an 11th game this season, that 11th game being the first round of the playoffs.
Definitely does, and that's a big game. Could be for a home playoff game between the Rockets and the champions.
Absolutely.
Forest and Cascade, both a little better, I think, than a lot of people thought, before the season actually got underway. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 3A games. Watertown, for the first time in a long time, traveling down Highway 70 to play Lebanon High School. Lincoln County at Giles County. Coalfield at Sequatchie. And then Grundy at Sale Creek.
Some pretty good ball games there. I think that Lebanon will probably emerge the winner in that one. Giles County's coach, David O'Connor, played at Lincoln County. He grew up in Fayetteville, so there'll be a lot of emotion on that game. Coalfield and Sequatchie, I don't know if there's much of a history there, but Coalfield is running wild this year once again at the 1A ranks. They'll give Sequatchie a tough time, and Coalfield will probably win that game. And then Grundy at Sale Creek, I wouldn't be surprised if Sale Creek won that. Jason Fitzgerald, who has had success at Meigs, at Hickson, and for the longest at Ray County is now the head coach at Sale Creek. And they've won a couple of games this year. Another relatively young program that hasn't been playing football for a terribly long time, just north of Chattanooga.
Region 4 4A games, DeKalb going up to Crossville to play Stone Memorial, a big region matchup there. White County, a big region matchup with Macon County, and then Upman against Cumberland County. And then the only non-region game is the border bitter rival between Overton County and Fentress County, and York plays Livingston.
Yeah, I think that DeKalb County and Stone Memorial game, I noticed right now looking at the standings, DeKalb County is 1-0 in the region, Stone is 2-0, and they're one game apart on the overall records too. But I think DeKalb could seriously improve its opportunity for a playoff game if they can come home with a win over Stone Memorial.
We'll have an interview with Macon County coach Kyle Shoulders when we return to the box score, presented to you by Carthage Safeway.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Welcome back to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. We're now visiting with Macon County head coach Kyle Shoulders. And Kyle, although you're not in our footprint of immediate teams we cover, you do play a lot of them. I mean, when you look, you play Macon, you're in the same region as DeKalb, so you're pretty familiar with Region 4 4A, and I don't think there's any argument it's not one of the tougher regions in the state of Tennessee in any classification.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of familiarity there, a lot of crossover. You know, we get an opportunity to claim a lot of those guys as rivals and compete with them year in and year out. So we are very familiar with each other for sure.
Kyle, we've got a picture of you that Terry furnished. Where did all of that gray in your beard come from? Kyle, at what stage of your life did you decide that maybe I'd like to be a high school football coach?
You know, I don't think I ever decided that. I'll tell you what happened. A really close friend by the name of Daniel Cook, his arm was twisted to be the head football coach here at Macon County High School years ago, and I was actually still in college, and before he ever accepted it, he called me down to his home, and we sat there in his living room conversating about it, and he really wasn't wanting to do it at the time, I don't think, and I think I just kind of nudged him in the direction to do it, and then somehow he conned me into helping him. So the last couple of years when I was in college, I spent every waking minute driving back and forth, trying to volunteer and help him. And, naturally just love the game all throughout my playing career. I think I can contribute a lot of that to the late Coach Pat Dyer. He was my head coach, which was a phenomenal man and left a great impression on me. But, I don't know that I ever agreed to this. I just feel like that a close buddy of mine just kind of led me in the wrong direction.
Never did agree to it, but you never did say no either, apparently.
That's great.
Well, Kyle, the bad thing is now he's your principal. He's not on you. You're one of your best friends. He's your principal, and you're his assistant. So I guess he just pawns off on you everything he doesn't want to do, right?
Yeah, I'm just glad that you used the term principal instead of boss. I think his head gets extremely swelled when people start talking about him being my boss. So, I talk to him all the time about, every time that we're together in some capacity making a decision or trying to make something go, it never ends well. So, a little concerned. But ever since he has been back here, I will tell you, the culture has changed at Macon County High School. The student body is extremely involved and very tight-knit group of faculty here as well. And I contribute a lot of that to Daniel.
Kyle, you've got a pretty good football team this year. 4-1 right now. Your only setback coming to Upperman High School, and Upperman has got a pretty good coach in Adam Kane also. They love that smash mouth football in a big way. Was that a big factor in your loss to them?
I think there's a lot of similarities, with what we do offensively and defensively compared to Upperman. We're probably a run-first, gap scheme football team, much like the likes of Upperman, much like the likes of Smith County. I don't know if that contributed as much. We've had an opportunity to play some really good football teams up to this point, and sometimes things have went our way, sometimes things just have not. And I think I can contribute a lot of our success just to the resiliency and the way that our players this year have matured and handled adversity and not let negative outside factors or positive outside factors negate how they play each and every down. So again, I think that's a compliment to our guys. I think it goes back to the amount of playing time that they've got over the last number of years. We've got somewhat of a I don't want to use the term young team, but in a sense, we're not necessarily senior loaded. We've got a lot of underclassmen playing, but we have a lot of experience with those underclassmen. So I think that's starting to, pay dividends for us, and hopefully we can continue that for the weeks to come.
Coach, your had penalties were big in that Upperman game, over 100 yards in penalties. Called back a couple of touchdowns, but your team, I thought, came out the second half after being down 14-0 and fought, got it back to 14-7, and actually was driving on your last drive to try to tie that football game up. And, I know when things haven't gone your way, you played a lot better the following week against Smith County. You got a 6-3 win in overtime in a defensive struggle in which there was a lot of ebbs and flows. Of course, in that game, you had a touchdown call back as well due to a penalty. But you didn't have as many mistakes in that ball game as far as turnovers and penalties, which I think, as a football coach, maybe not can always eliminate those, but if you can limit those, it definitely makes you play a lot better.
Well, I think that we're a team that, up to this point, at least, we have been one that plays with great effort at times, and I feel like we're going to have to be able to play with great effort to continue to compete with the teams that we have on our schedule. And when you compete with such great effort, naturally some of those penalties are going to be thrown your way. You look back at the beginning of our season, we opened the season up with Westmoreland, a team that we should have probably put away well before we actually did. Penalties kept them kind of in that game. Then you look at the Upperman game, kind of what you mentioned. Penalties kind of went against us. Smith County, penalties kind of went for us on that particular night at certain crucial times. So, one thing that I admire about our guys up to this point, and I've often said this, and I've said it in conversations about Gabe Borders. Gabe Borders was a Mr. Football finalist last year. A lot of people want to talk about him. He is a junior this year. But one of the greatest attributes about Gabe Borders is the fact that when things aren't going his way, you never see any negative demeanor or behavior, attitude out of him. You don't see him hang his hat. Even when things go good, you don't see him get overly emotional. He always stays businesslike and continues throughout the course of the game, even when things aren't going well. Well, I think that has kind of got contagious with our team. I see that there's a lot of times, much like you mentioned, in the Upperman and Smith County games, two big games for us, and there was a lot of bad stuff that happened throughout the course of the game, or maybe we weren't having the level of success that we're trying to have. But our guys have just refused to hang our heads, put our hands on our hips, feel sorry for ourselves, and they've just continued to battle. Both games, Upperman and Smith County, they've been in the red zone inside the 5, and our guys have continued to compete, and good things happened in both scenarios. So I think that's really the difference in our team right now is just the level of focus and the unwillingness to lay down or quit.
Coach, a lot of people would call that great chemistry, whether it's among the kids or among your coaching staff. It could be a lot like a virus that spreads through a community, be it good or bad. It sounds like your team has got that great chemistry, and you've got great leadership to make sure that that those good things like that spread throughout the entire team just almost on their own.
Well, we use this term to try to, I guess, instill something into our team, and the word is family. We put it on the back of our helmet. We talk about it all the time. It's actually on the back of our practice jerseys, and it's not just a cliche or a saying. There really is a sense of togetherness with our team, our staff, our community, probably even more so than I could have ever even have fathomed there to ever be. And I'll tell you, there's two times in which things have happened. I feel like they're great turning points in this program since I've been here. One was years ago, but the second one happened this year. And it was after the game at Upperman, and we had lost. Nobody likes to lose. Coaches don't like to lose. Players don't like to lose. Community sure don't like to lose. But there was something different that happened that night after a loss, where after we dispersed from our team huddle, our players had the luxury of turning around, and none of our fans had left. They were standing in the bleachers still, waiting for our players. As soon as we broke out and dispersed, just an enormous round of applause for our players. And at that moment, I realized that, this word that we use, family, we're talking about togetherness all the time, that it's not just us as players and coaches in our program, but it's the community as well, and how they can continue to support those guys after a tough loss like that and show their appreciation. I really felt like that was something special, and that's where we have wanted to get this program, and I feel like we're closer now than we've ever been.
Kyle, that's an incredible blessing, and I don't think that's anything that you can coach. You either have it or you don't.
100%, yes, sir.
Well, Kyle Shoulders, we appreciate you visiting with us, and want to let all our viewers know, if you want to see Kyle Shoulders coach basketball, show up at Junior Pro Undefeated toward the end of January, February, or in the first part of March, and you'll see Kyle Shoulders at his best. When his son gets out there, maybe shoots it too much or makes a bad pass or whatever, then you can see the grayness that's in Kyle's beard being caused by coaching his kids at junior pro and defeated.
That'll do it to you.
Hey, listen, they'll get to witness the fact that I treat their kids the exact same way I treat mine.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's probably not a good thing. Probably not. Hey, I really appreciate you guys. You guys do a wonderful job, a great thing for high school sports, and these football players and communities and programs are very appreciative of what you do and the recognition that you bring to them. It's really special. Really, without you guys, it's some of this is fun, but maybe not near as enjoyable. So we really appreciate you guys.
Kyle, we do a lot of that because a lot of the coaches that we deal with are like you. They're good human beings first who just happen to be pretty good high school coaches.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, we've been visiting with Kyle Shoulders and the Macon County High School Tigers, and we'll have more of the Box Score when we return, brought to you by Carthage Safeway, as we remind you, you're watching the Box Score right here on DTC 3.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security makeover today.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for chief geologist, general mine foreman, mine engineer, graduate mining engineer, electrical superintendent, mobile superintendent, mine supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair and Justin Malden, always doing the tough work.
Punching all the buttons.
That's right, and getting it straight. We appreciate his hard work each and every week. He's the one that has to track these scores and all that down and change graphics, and it's a full-time job.
Glad he knows what he's doing, because I don't.
Murphy and I will be lost as last year's Easter egg for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's look at our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports. It's community at Cannon County. We talked about the importance for Cannon County. When you look, they have got, I guess, one more region game left, or maybe 2, I don't remember. But, if they're going to get in the playoffs, like you said, Murph, they need a victory, and the community is, a team that I feel like they can play with and hopefully win at home against.
Yeah, their only other regional game is against Marion County, and right. Marion County is a pretty good football team again this year, so they really need this one to get into the postseason.
Let's go ahead and look at some numbers as far as this game. 7th meeting in the series. Cannon County leads the all-time series 4-2. First game was back in 2015. No shutouts by either school in the series. Cannon County won last year 28-16 in Woodbury. Schools are only separated about 32 miles. Points per game in the series. You look at community, they're averaging 26.5, and Cannon County 33.5. So if things hold par, Murphy, they're going to have a shootout in Woodbury.
I think so. It's one of those games that could go either way, and I know Coach Daniel is doing his best to figure out a way. He's got some injury issues on his team as well, and the depth factor wasn't very deep when everybody was healthy. And there'll be some young men be forced into a critical situation Friday night just because the depth is not there, especially with the injuries that Cannon has right now.
All right, Murphy's going to do some picking for us, and we'll start with Coalfield traveling to Dunlap to play Sequatchie County.
Well, I think that one's a pretty easy pick right there. Coalfield, despite the history that Sequatchie has, Coalfield's a pretty tough 1A school, has been for a long, long time, and I think Coalfield's Yellow Jackets win that one going away.
In the big private school matchup, a lot of people in Chattanooga area are thinking Baylor-McCallie may be the two teams that make it to a home game. Basically, they're on UTC's campus where the championship played. Is that a reality?
It could very well be. I know Baylor and McCallie are both boarding schools, right, and that's why you see so many kids from Canada that are playing football at Baylor and McCallie. And there's a lot of people across, a lot of coaches and administrators across the state are not very happy about that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's not some kind of rule or regulation about that in the future. Yeah, you can grab kids from any other state, but let's not be going out of the United States to find high school football players.
Puts recruiting at a new level. Brentwood Academy at Baylor.
I'm going to have to go with Baylor in that one. They're just Brentwood Academy's got a new head football coach, and this is nothing on him, but I think Baylor's in the fast lane right now.
Providence Academy at Kings.
Providence has won a couple of games this year. I don't know that they'll win at Kings Academy. Kings Academy is not quite the team that it has been, and maybe just because I think so much of LeBron Ferguson, the head football coach at Providence, I'm going to go with them in that one.
All right, Murphy, do the Middle Tennessee picks there.
Siegel at Blackman. I think Siegel's going to win that ball game. They came out like a rocket to get the season started, and I think that's gonna work in their favor Friday night at Blackman. Shelbyville at Franklin County. Shelbyville's a pretty good football team. They score a lot of points, and I think they'll win on the road as well. Forest at Cascade, that could go either way, but I think on this sheet right here, I'm going to go with the visiting team in all three games.
Right. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at some West Tennessee picks.
Well, I'd like to see that Germantown-Collierville game. Germantown's probably going to win that game, but Collierville's got an awfully good football team too. I'm going with Germantown there. Huntington against Milan. When Huntington took the field and just wore out Adamsville and wore out Trenton Peabody, they got my attention, and I think their coach would rather beat Milan than anybody on their record. And MASC, I was trying to remember the school out of Memphis last year that had four initials like that, and their coach is now the head coach at MASC. That's Memphis Academy of Science and Engineering, and I think they beat Peabody.
Let's go ahead and look at some local picks. Gordonsville, Monterey.
Gordonsville, with the injury issue that they have, I think Monterey's primed to get a win there. Those two used to play each other a lot when they were in the same region. Watertown, Lebanon, I think is the easy pick there. Smith County at East Robertson. I've seen the Owls play twice, and it's a pretty good football team, and I'm looking for them to win that one too, despite going on the road. And the Cab will probably beat Stone Memorial. Stone's rebuilding this year, and I got to root for Cannon County to win that game so they can get into the playoffs.
Thanks so much, Justin Malden, and for Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the Box Score.